Hello everyone, my name is Megan Martinez and I did my internship with the Dayton Chamber of Commerce and MainStreet Dayton. So from January to April, I worked under two bosses. Rachel Marshall was my boss for MainStreet Dayton, and since she is the executive director of MainStreet Dayton, she's responsible for all the events and projects for the city of Dayton. So this organization's goal is to make Dayton basically a destination place. So they want those who come to visit or families, especially families who live here, and college students from Bryan College to be able to really connect and want to go to downtown Dayton. So they do this by fixing the roads, hosting events, and opening new shops and restaurants, like the pizza shop that just opened a few months ago. Cynthia Rodriguez was my boss for the Dayton Chamber of Commerce, and their goal is to help local businesses connect to the community. So the chamber hosts a lot of networking events. So local business owners will come and socialize through coffee gatherings, lunch meetings, chamber banquets, all of that. And they also host other events like the Tennessee Strawberry Festival and the annual golf tournament. So the big concept here is for businesses to better promote themselves and eventually improve the lives of the people who live here. So my daily responsibilities were not so daily, to say the least. They varied depending on which boss needed more help at the time or which project needed more attention. So that was first priority. But if there were no specific projects that I was working on, there were plenty of other tasks that needed to be completed. One of the first tasks I did was make a newsletter for all of the events that MainStreet Dayton was hosting this year. And that was interesting because it's something that I've never done before. I also looked at t-shirt designs and updated the websites for new information that was coming in. And each organization has a big pool, a big database. So I would usually update that information as well and make sure that everything that was on there matched with all of the information that was on the website. So I made sure they had the correct names, addresses, contact information. And usually I would have to go back and fix that. And I would also create spreadsheets of research of any information they wanted me to complete. So one example was when I went through all of the big companies and organizations in the Dayton and Chattanooga area to see who could be possible sponsors for the Tennessee Strawberry Festival and MainStreet Dayton. Part of that I also organized a bunch of pay stubs, receipts, checks, bank statements, all of those things. And one day I had to take over for Cynthia because she was going to be out of the office for a while. So I answered calls and I redirected people who asked questions whenever they came into the Welcome Center. So that was interesting as well. I was also able to contribute to any meetings through my opinions on my generation and anything about Bryan College and any prior knowledge that I had from classes or any. With all the things that I did in this internship, there were never really any formal evaluations on paper or anything like that. Nothing was recorded. But the way that Cynthia and Rachel evaluated me was through words. If they felt that something was wrong, they would come up to me and tell me face to face. So I always knew what to do because they always gave me pretty clear directions. And if not, I would ask questions. And they would let me know if the job I did was well done, or they would come back and give me more directions, or steer me in the right direction with any other help. They would also check for accuracy with all the tasks that I completed by comparing their notes and what I had done. So another way they kept track of everything I did was through deadlines. So each task I had had a deadline with a specific day and a specific time. And they would also tell me how important each thing was. So that really challenged my time management skills, and I would always try to turn in a project ahead of time so that they could check for accuracy and if they wanted me to add anything else. But before every task I did, they would ask me if I understood what they were talking about, and they would quiz me on things, and they would always ask if I've done something like that before. And then they would always ask my opinion on the task after I completed it. So it was very important to meet those deadlines and be accurate with them. I am definitely a planner. I love knowing what I'm going to be doing, how I'm going to do it, and when it needs to get done. And this was definitely a challenge for me when I wasn't sure what to expect or what I was going to do every day during this internship. But it really helped me, and I learned a lot. I was able to meet so many people who are business owners in this community and contribute to so many people around them. This also helped me improve my communication skills, since I was able to go to all the events and all the meetings. Once a month we had a lunch meeting with all the business owners and organizations in the Dayton community, which was a great experience because one, they had free food, and the other was because I was able to actually communicate with people and see what Dayton is about, because there are so many businesses and shops, restaurants, organizations in this area that I never knew about before. So it really expanded my idea on what Dayton is. So it was cool to be a part of an organization that helps promote business while trying to bring the community together. I also had an amazing relationship with my bosses. They taught me how to use their programs while I taught them a few things about social media. And a lot of times we would just sit in their offices together and just talk about life, and they would give me advice, not just about the business world, but about life in general. And that was really great, especially with the age difference, when we got to see differences across all generations. I am a business administration major with an option in accounting and economics finance. So being under that business administration wing, I was able to take a bunch of different classes, and I was exposed to a number of different topics and concepts. And one thing that really stuck in my memory that was reiterated, I guess, in this internship was corporate social responsibility. And that is a business model where companies are able to be more socially responsible for themselves and for the public. And this can be through volunteer work or just donations. So many companies and organizations in the Dayton area offer their services, offer their time. They volunteer for so many different events here, and it really shows that accountability they have, which really stood out to me. Another thing that I remember from class that is very important in the business world is financial stability. So in every accounting class here at Bryan, Mrs. Hosteller always says cash is king. So cash budgets are definitely a big deal, and in every project and committee meeting, they always brought up the budget. So that was where a lot of arguments and difficulties laid, but it really gave them a chance to be creative, and it's really a plan for the business. So for the organization, it helped them to get things organized and make sure they weren't overspending. Another thing I remember from my management information systems class is that when I was dealing with all of the financial documents like income statements, balance sheets, bank reconciliations, that there are software solutions and applications to help keep those things organized and to analyze those things, like QuickBooks and Xero, all of those things that could possibly help in the Chamber of Commerce. Overall, I had a great experience working with the Dayton Chamber of Commerce and MainStreet Dayton. Although it was a little bit of a challenge, not knowing what I was going to do every day, it definitely kept me on my toes. And although sometimes some of the tasks seemed tedious, it definitely taught me patience, and that running an organization is hard. That there are so many things to keep up with. There are, especially when there are so many distractions and people that you have to manage, all of those things come into play in an organization. I was also able to use what I learned in the classroom in that environment. So I was very thankful for that experience.